Do you think they should implement pre- or post-match interviews and press conferences for referees? We see this happening for players and managers before games, right after games, moments after they enter the tunnel, and after games in a formal setting. Should we do this for referees as well? So should that referee, as he was walking through the tunnel, should he be pulled aside into an interview room and been asked about it?
You are then opening referees up to just copious amounts of abuse.
Yeah, you are.
But what do they do? I know obviously VAR come out and say, yeah, I've messed up there. If the referee yesterday comes out and says straight after the game, yeah, I've made a massive mistake there. How much does this snowball? It goes absolutely mental, doesn't it? It would go crazy. So in a way, I feel they should have to justify a decision, especially one like that. Like, why have you held the play up? Why have you played on for a little bit until you've seen them through on goal and then pull it back? He's got to come out at some point, maybe not straight after the game, but maybe the next morning or something. Or, I don't know. There should be a way to do it.
My problem with it is that after these decisions happen and everything, they pull these managers out for interviews straight after the game, right after they're hot about it, and literally prod them and probe them until they react and end up with a fine. So if they can do that to managers, why shouldn't a referee be asked when it's like still hot, when it's just happened?
Yeah. Football feast, this the Football Feast Extra podcast. Hey, Football Feast Extra podcast. Playing soccer, grabbing cleats. Playing soccer, time to meet. Playing soccer, time to greet. They finna talk a lot, okay? Playing soccer, get the cleats. Playing soccer, let's get it. Playing soccer, let's go. Football podcast.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Football Feast Extra podcast. It's the dynamic duo today. Baron has deserted us to go and watch Ramsgate in the FA Cup. So it's just me and Billy for today's episode to talk about the weekend's games. Hopefully Baron comes back with some footage from that Ramsgate game. I did ask him to take a few videos. I don't know if he's going to see that or not.
He is probably battered by now.
It's not even kicked off yet.
No, he would have been about 3 o'clock.
No, that's crazy. But yeah, fair play to Ramsgate and fair play to him. Hopefully they get to the next round. What do you think about that? The FA Cup draw. There's been a lot made of it. I've seen over sort of social media the last few days that there should be like seeding in the FA Cup because the big teams are playing each other in the third round. It's like let the little teams that have played 5 games play a big team.
I do get it because I was gutted like for Maidstone. I was actually gutted for him. Who'd they get? Stevenage or Port Vale?
Something like that,
What a rubbish tie.
Yeah.
Like, you've just done all that. You've had, I don't know how many games it is to qualify, but I know it's a lot to get for them to get into the third round.
Yeah, 5 or 6, I think.
And they've managed to get to the third round. They don't even want like a championship team would do.
Yeah.
Imagine Sunderland turning up at Maidstone or Maidstone turning up at Sunderland, something like that, or Middlesbrough or Leeds, Leicester. The amount of money they'll make is ridiculous. So I do feel a bit sorry for them teams that got an absolute crapper of a draw. But I think Ramsgate get Ipswich if they can pull off this.
That's a decent draw for them.
Game today. So yeah, that'd be good. And I'm sure with is it BBC do the FA Cup or is it ITV? I can't quite remember.
It's BBC, I think.
I'm pretty sure the winner of each tie gets put on next week, on the next round. I'm sure that's how they used to do it. I'm not sure if they do it now. So, like, if Ramsgate or AFC Wimbledon, whoever gets through, they should be on TV on their next one. I think that's how it used to work. I'm not sure if it is now.
Well, I mean, I think if Ramsgate get to the 4th round, then they should be on TV, like regardless, because that's massive for them. It's like the first time they've ever done it. They're already the lowest ranked team in the competition.
Yeah, it'd just be mad. Well, it'd be the third for them, wouldn't it? It'd be the third round.
Oh yeah, sorry.
They're trying to qualify now for the third. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the second.
It's because it's on a Monday. I'll tell you what, I'm not happy about the FA Cup draw. It's Sunderland got Newcastle. I'm not happy about that bit. I thought I've been going on for ages. I really wanted Sunderland Newcastle. Like, I want to be back playing them games, but not yet.
Yeah, this is like the worst
I'm not-
time to be playing Newcastle.
Yeah, not looking forward to that one at all.
They're beating teams like PSG and
Yeah.
Man United.
And we're drawing against Millwall.
To be fair, Newcastle were so thin on the ground, like with their squad. You would think that they would maybe. I mean, you'd think they'd rest players, but then would the fans let them rest players against Sunderland?
He can't for that one. He won't be allowed.
Yeah.
I don't think they've beaten us in like 13 years.
No, because every time
like that.
every time you played them when you was in the Premiership, that you always come out with a win. I always remember Sunderland winning.
I think the last one was a draw, but apart from that, I think we've won the last 6, and the last one was a draw. And I'm pretty sure they haven't beaten us. They haven't beaten us for a long old time. So,
yeah,
13-0, one for each year.
It's a tasty tie, though. There's a few of them. As I said, Arsenal got Liverpool at the Emirates, which, to be fair, like I was saying, like it's a good tie. But Arsenal played Man City away in the FA Cup 4th round last year. These teams I just don't think they should be playing each other so early because they're probably all going to rest their players. No one really wants the game at that point.
But then if you look at it the other way, say Maidstone do go to Port Vale or Stevenage, somehow win, and then they've got an Ipswich who will probably rest players, so they're playing a Championship reserve team. They get a result in that. You got Liverpool out or Arsenal out. You got.
You're trying to tell me that Maidstone are going to win the FA Cup?
No, but they can get a lot further, can't they?
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, if they played Liverpool or Arsenal, great for them. And it'd be great for the fans that go to Maidstone every week, get to see like Saka and that turn up, or Salah or whatever. But then it's just going to be an absolute mauling as well, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no,
we'll fair enough. Let's move on to the Premier League then. We'll start off at Burnley. Burnley beating Sheffield United 5-0.
Talking of maulings.
Yeah, absolutely horrendous showing from Sheffield United. At the time of recording, Heckingbottom is set to be sacked. Hasn't happened yet. Might happen by the time that this podcast goes out. But, I mean, I had this one as a draw. I had this as a close game. It was anything, but it just didn't happen.
Yeah, I'll be a bit of a hypocrite right now because last week or the week before I said we should give managers time.
Yeah,
you cannot lose 5-0 against your relegation rivals. You just can't do it.
No,
it's not even just that, is it? It's the 5-0 against Arsenal. They lost 3-1 at Bournemouth, 3-0 at Fulham, 8-0 against Newcastle. No. Yeah, and you can't stay after that, I'm afraid.
He came out and criticised the club. I don't know if you saw that afterwards, saying that they made financial decisions and not footballing decisions in the summer, letting players go. He come out and said that about the club.
I get it, because you had that their best player was that Sander Berg, and they let him go to Burnley, which is just madness. Letting them, like, you're not even going to like a Crystal Palace or someone like that, or Brentford, who you're not going to be battling against, but to let him go to Burnley, was a crazy decision. But no matter what your team, if you're in the Premier League, you can't lose 8-0 against anybody.
No, not 8-0.
And you can't be losing 5-0 against second from bottom. Or were they bottom? I can't remember.
So Everton were bottom because of the points deduction.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And then Burnley were below Sheffield United. Burnley have now leapfrogged Sheffield United after that.
You can't. So I sound like a hypocrite because I said let's give them time last week, but not after a result like that.
It's the first real 6-pointer of the season. Like the first, because we're a fair way in now, and for those two to be playing each other, that is the first real okay, let's try and nick this by a goal. To go and lose 5-0. Yeah,
but they didn't start off too bad. I remember them at City only lost by the goal, didn't they? Real late on.
Yeah.
Spurs. Was that late on as well?
That was really late. Yeah, very late.
That was 2-1. So they didn't start off too bad, and but the amount of goals: 8-0, 5-0, 3-0 against Fulham, who don't score. Well, I'm saying they don't score goals; they score 3 against Liverpool. But generally they don't score goals, do they, Fulham?
No.
And you go in and concede 3 against them, but it's the 8-0 and the 5-0 against Burnley. It shouldn't be happening if you're a Premier League team.
I've heard Chris Wilder's the favourite to replace Heckingbottom.
Going back there. See, it's a bit of a weird one because why go backwards as well, though? If you're
Yeah.
going to do it, they probably know they're going to go down. Let's be real honest. They're absolutely awful. So why don't? Because Heckingbottom's a young guy, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a youngster.
Why you either give him the season? There's no point bringing someone in like a Chris Wilder. I don't see the point in that. Or or a Sam Allardyce or something. There's no point in that if you're Sheffield United.
No, I mean it worked for Crystal Palace, didn't they? They got rid of Vieira, brought back Hodgson, and they've actually look a lot better with.
But they've got
Hodgson.
Premier League players, haven't they? They had Zaha
Yeah.
and they got Eze and Ayus, and they got players that are Premier League quality. Sheffield United are not.
No.
They're going to go down no matter who they get in. So you either stick with a guy and have a plan for going down, because there is no point getting an experienced guy in to just get relegated anyway for him to leave at the end of the season and to restart again by getting a younger manager.
Yeah, very true. Did you see the red card for Ollie McBurney in that game?
I didn't, I must admit.
It was 2 yellows, and the first one he sort of jumped and elbowed him as he's jumped. And then the second one, 5 minutes later, he's jumped and he's elbowed him as he's jumped. Same two players within about 5 minutes. Like, so stupid.
He's supposed to be the experienced guy there as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he's been there for years.
Yeah,
just crazy.
He's been around. He knows what he's.
Yeah, it was absolutely disgraceful, really, from them. And they weren't. I mean, I did have that game on. They weren't going in for tackles. They were pulling out things. It's like when they concede the first goal, their heads just drop.
Yeah, I've watched Company in an interview. Like he was saying, like our football's been quite good. We haven't got results, and he said we are really, really looking forward to playing Sheffield United.
I bet.
Like for a team that is second from bottom, you're only not bottom because Everton have had points deducted. To be like, oh yeah, we are really looking forward to this. He knew that they was going to go there and turn them over massively.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, fair play. I mean, to your point earlier, Company, yeah, he needs some time, but Heckingbottom, it's time for him to go, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that, yeah.
Yeah. Let's move on to Newcastle versus Manchester United. It was 1-0 to Newcastle. That might be the most one-sided 1-0 win I've ever seen in my life. Yep. Did you watch that one?
I did, and my God, they are bad, aren't they, Man United? They got absolutely hammered, not just on the mat, like in the game, but like by like Keane and Carragher and stuff, and rightly so. Players like Rashford not even running, is a joke. How he hasn't been dropped yet, I don't get it. Someone asked me this at work earlier. They said, "Will Rashford ever get to that point where he's supposed to be?" I don't think he was ever had the potential to do that myself.
No.
He had a couple of good games, and everyone's just got the English
bias. Yeah,
media built him up like some Mbappe the second. And he's just. And I was thinking what team he'd get him earlier. So I was thinking Liverpool, not a chance. Absolutely no way. He's not getting in Arsenal. He's not getting in over Martinelli.
No.
Chelsea, maybe. If Sterling isn't playing on the left.
Yeah, he'll get in over Mudryk maybe for a bit until he gets dropped.
Yeah. Spurs, he ain't getting in over Son, is he?
No. Even
Kulusevski.
Yeah, Kulusevski. Yeah,
and then you go down even further. Brighton, he's not. Is he as good as Matoma?
Matoma's not even starting for Brighton at the moment. He came off the bench in that game against
exactly
Chelsea.
If you go on just them in the left wing position, he's not getting in half of the Premier League.
It's a bit crazy, but I heard this the other day, and I think they could be onto something. Is his place for Euro 2024 under serious threat at the moment?
I was shocked that he was in the squad for the last one because he has been awful. And if Gareth Southgate is looking at an England team, where does Rashford play on the left for England, doesn't he? If he's going, he's better than Foden, then he needs to leave right now, Gareth Southgate.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. I mean, you've got so many players. You've even got players like at Crystal Palace, like Elise and Eze, that can probably do a better job there on that left hand side at the moment in better form.
Yeah, Grealish,
who's not even getting starts at Man City, but he's arguably in better form than Rashford.
Yeah, just that game was just horrible. And I know I'm not Ten Hag's biggest fan. I just want to point out that he is really bad, but I am starting to feel a bit sorry for him. His players have given up for him, completely given up. And I'm not playing for him one bit.
This is the thing. This is what they did with Solskjaer. This is what they did with, who was the guy before that, Ranić. They just down tools. It's the same group of players, and they're just getting these managers sacked. And I'm not a massive fan of Ten Hag, but I don't. Man United are the worst state I've ever seen them in. So that I can remember. I've never seen them in a worse state than this. I mean, I've got a stat here. For Ten Hag. And I know this doesn't paint him in the greatest light, whether you put this on the players or you put this on him. So, away results versus the top 9 teams in the Premier League since Ten Hag took over. He's lost 10 and drawn 1, not beating a single top 9 team away from home since he's been the Man United manager, which is crazy.
That's madness.
And when you look at some of the results as well, 4-0 to Brentford, 6-3 to City, 7-0 to Liverpool. You said no team should be losing 8-0. 7's not much better.
No.
And then you've got like 3-1 losses to Villa, 2-0 to Tottenham. It's a terrible. The only draw is a 2-2 draw against Tottenham. That's the only semi-positive result.
And this is Man United. Like, people can not agree with this all over England, right? But if we're real honest, they are the biggest club in this country by a long way.
Yeah, I agree.
A long way. And they can't beat any of the top 9 away from home.
Including Brentford.
Like I said, I'm not Ten Hag's biggest fan. I think he's absolutely terrible. I think he's done nothing to justify himself getting this job at Man United. But I am starting to feel a bit sorry for him. And like you said, it's always the same group of players. And it's always Rashford.
Yeah, it is. I'd love to hear your opinions, Man United fans, because, I know we've spoken about this before, but is it the players or is it Ten Hag or is it both? Because at this rate, I mean, I know that you're not that far away from like the top 4, which is madness, like considering how poor Man United have been. But, if they carry on like this, it could be a battle with Chelsea for 10th place at this rate.
Yeah, I looked at their team at the beginning of the season. I thought top 4, easy. I got a bet with you, stupidly enough. I thought easily top 4. But it's just mad. Like, and who's buying the players as well is what I want to know. Because if it is Ten Hag, he doesn't play them.
Yeah.
They bought Mason Mount. How is Mason Mount? He must be sitting there thinking, how the hell am I not in this team?
Yeah. Yeah, Mason Mount,
They're playing kids, aren't they?
Even Anthony I know he's been poor, and he is poor, but he must have been brought in by Ten Hag because he obviously worked with him at Ajax, so he must have had a hand in bringing him in. And he's not even getting in the team.
Haaland was on the bench, and they played Martial.
I know he's coming back from injury.
Possibly the worst player I've ever seen play for Man United.
He's really weird. It's a strange player, Martial, because he's a really good finisher, but he can't do anything else. If you put him one-on-one with the keeper, he'll score, but he just doesn't. Like, once in a blue moon. Even I think Roy Keane said it on Sky Sports. He scores once every 74 years.
But even then, Roy Keane said he can justify that, but not being able to run.
Yeah, it's poor.
It's something has to happen there real quick. And I'm not Ten Hag's biggest fan, but I'm actually starting to feel sorry for him because they have just completely given up on him.
Yeah, they're down tools, just thinking,
is it his own fault with the treatment of Ronaldo, the treatment of Sancho? They're probably thinking, well, we're next, probably.
Well, I mean, you know what? Talking about Sancho, I mean, maybe not Ronaldo because he's probably not following it, but Sancho is probably sitting there in the reserves thinking, well, look at these players that have given up. Why have they not been exiled? Why are they not training with me in the reserves?
Yeah, because he got accused, didn't he, of not working hard enough.
Yeah, there's
in
no way
training.
they are.
Well, Ten Hag's clearly not watching the football, is he?
No.
He says everything when the commentator says, if it wasn't for Harry Maguire,
Yeah.
God knows what this score would be. He was really good the other day, and he's been really good all season for Man United.
Yeah, he was good. And Shaw was decent as well at centre-back. Both of them were actually fairly decent.
Yeah.
But that was about it. Okay.
Yeah, bad.
After we finished abusing Man United, we're going to move on to Chelsea. Not got too many bad things to say about Chelsea because they did manage to win with 10 men as well. But the fact that they've gone down to 10 men again, so it's the second week in a row the player that started as captain for Chelsea has been sent off. Reece James last week against Newcastle, Conor Gallagher this week. Is there a problem at Chelsea, like a discipline problem? Or?
Conor Gallagher's like a ticking time bomb anyway.
Yeah, it's true.
I don't think he knows what he's doing half the time. He's such a weird player because he's quite good on the ball.
Yeah, he just runs around.
I think he tries too hard. And he just needs someone. Because it's such an inexperienced side, isn't it? They've got no one to really get hold of him and go, look, mate, you need to chill the fuck out.
Yeah. He's not like a specialist in like any one position in midfield. He tries to be like box to box, and then he tries to sit, and then he tries to, to attack the box. And he just needs to sort of work out what his role is in that midfield and sort of stick to it and perfect it.
He'll try too hard. He'll get himself caught out of position, and he'll make a crazy tackle. I quite like him as a football player, like you said. But if he just finds his position, sticks to it, but again, there's no experience around him, is there, to tell him like you need to calm down. Just sit here, do this, do that. There's no one around him.
I mean, you've got Enzo Fernandez, but he's a youngster himself. But he's a World Cup winner. You'd think that he would be able to sort of rein him in. But I don't know how old Conor Gallagher is. I don't know if there's a massive age gap between the two. They're about the same age,
I think he's probably older. Yeah, probably about the same age. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I will say, obviously, Chelsea won, but Brighton are struggling a bit at the moment.
They are struggling a bit. I think they're struggling having Europe and the Premier League.
And I just think the sales are catching up on them. You can't sell your best players every year and keep doing it. It happened to Southampton, didn't it? They sold their best players. For a while, they was replacing them with other really good players.
Yeah.
And then they were moving on.
And then there
comes a time where you're just like, there comes a time where you're just like, well, we just can't keep replacing. Like, there's not an unlimited pool of like players, is there? You can just keep.
I know it defeats the whole business model, but like they've got all this money from these sales over the past sort of 3 or 4 years. 80 million here, 60 million here, 8 million there. What point do they go, right, we can't keep doing this. This isn't sustainable. Let's go out and buy a world-class player. We're in Europe. I know we're not the biggest name, but we're in Europe. Let's go out and buy a European-level talent for decent money that we're maybe not going to make money off of, but we'll be able to sit in our team for the next 5 to 6 years and we can build around. Because, like you said, they can do this for a little bit, but they can't sustain it.
The only problem with that is they go and buy a world-class player. He's at Liverpool or something next season.
Yeah.
It's still going to be the same. We're going to have to sell him because we're Brighton and Liverpool or Arsenal or Chelsea are in for him. So I get why they do it, buy these players for a little bit of money, sell them for a shitload of money. But like at some point, they've just got to go, no, you ain't leaving.
Yeah.
You ain't going. We need to build a team around you. Because the players they've sold.
Do you think they'll block Evan Ferguson from leaving?
It's the only thing in this day and age, a contract means jack shit, does it, as well? That's the only thing. As a club, you don't really have any...
No, you don't have any
leverage.
You've
got a 5-year contract, but if Everton just says, well, Ferguson says, well, I want to go.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave. I ain't going to turn up tomorrow. You have to sell him, don't you? Because there's nothing you can do, which is just madness. Sue him for breach of contract. Sue him for not turning up.
And as soon as
he's going to leave anyway.
As soon as he says that, you're getting less money for him because as soon as he makes public he wants to leave, your Man United or your Chelsea or whoever, they're not going to pay over the odds when they know he's going to force a move anyway. So all the whilst you can be like, amicable and sort of, we'll sell you whatever, and he's happy, you can get the most money for him. So it's a difficult position for the not. I don't want to disrespect Brighton, for the smaller teams though in the league compared to United, Liverpool, City, Arsenal, all of those. It's difficult.
It's hard for any of them players to, any of them teams to keep hold of their players if the big teams come knocking. Because now you can literally just force a move, saying, "Well, I want to go. I ain't going to turn up."
Yeah.
They don't care. They're earning so much money. What, they don't get paid for a week.
Yeah, exactly. They don't care, do they? Like that.
Yes, the contract means nothing these days, which is quite sad, really.
Yeah, it's a shame, but we'll see where he ends up next season, or even in January. You never know.
Yeah.
Let's move on to Sunday's action then, and the main one we want to go through is City versus Spurs. But I just wanted to point out, I said this off air the other day: 16 goals in the Sunday games that were not shown on TV in the UK. And when you looked at those fixtures, like before they kicked off, you would have probably predicted that Crystal Palace West Ham, the game on TV, was going to have the least amount of goals. It was the most even game out of the lot. So, I mean, I know we've had this conversation before about TV rights, and we get that every team has to be on TV a certain amount of times a year, a season. But I don't get why this season we're getting all these Sunday 2 p.m. kickoffs. Like, you know, before it was just one team at 2 o'clock, one team at half 4, and that's it. And then everyone else was Saturday at 3 p.m. I don't get what's changed.
Yeah, Conference League.
But that's on a Thursday.
You've got how many?
Oh yeah, they've all got to play on Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah, so they have to play on Sundays. How many English clubs you got in Europe now? Top 4? Or was it top 8?
Yeah, it'll be top 9 next season because 5 in the Champions League. Is that how it's going to work?
So next season you're going to have half the games on a Saturday, half on a Sunday.
It's horrible. And then you just don't. But the fact they're not on TV. I mean, I know they wouldn't have been on TV if they were on at 3 o'clock anyway on a Saturday.
Yeah.
But it's harder for fans to travel to games.
They do. Yeah.
Definitely.
On a Sunday, no trains and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like we said before, there needs to be something maybe like a Premier League app or something like that, which comes out, you pay your money, you can get to watch any of them.
Yeah.
But then ticket sales will drop, so they've got to think about that as well.
But I mean,
especially now when it's getting to like your minus degrees and stuff like that.
Yeah, you're cold,
and you've got your family that would normally go to the game, brave the cold. They're just going to be, we've got the app. Watch it indoors today.
Yeah, I suppose it's the smaller teams as well, maybe, that would suffer with it because, like, the waiting lists at these big clubs, you know, it wouldn't matter even if some people decided to stay home and watch it. People would fill those seats, but maybe the smaller clubs you would get people, but not as many. So maybe that is why they do it. But yeah, there were some great games on at 2 o'clock.
Yeah, surely someone should have looked at that and think.
Yeah.
But then again, do they know that they're going to be on a Sunday when they do the TV games? Did they know that? Well, I'm sure they did, didn't they?
They must have.
Because I don't know how it works. I don't know if they've got a list of all the European fixtures and that when they're doing the thing. I'm thinking,
well, the things with the Conference League, it's not like Champions League where it's Tuesday and Wednesday and you don't know which one you're going to get. Europa League and Conference League is always on a Thursday. So if you know which teams at the start of the season are going to be in that competition and which teams are going to be on a Sunday. So I sort of get it now. You've sort of explained it that it's because they can't play Thursday, Saturday. Fair enough, but I don't know. I just feel like we should be able to watch those games. I mean, Brighton, Chelsea, that's a banging game. Like even Aston Villa, Bournemouth. You know, Bournemouth are scoring goals for fun. That's
the one I watched.
Yeah, Villa are in good form. People, and I get that West Ham and Palace fans want to watch their own team, and that's fair enough, and they should be able to do that. But for the neutral, that was the most boring game that they could have put on.
Yeah, it was a bad game. And surely, it's like they've all got to play on TV and that, but surely they could have looked at their fixture list and thinking Chelsea, Brighton.
Yeah, they could have gone, right, okay, we've got
West Ham.
Yeah, if they've got to put West Ham and Palace on, put them on a different week where they're playing somebody, you know, it's gonna be a good game for the neutral, because it just, you know, it wasn't one.
But then that way you're only going to have the big clubs, aren't you? On TV, if you're just going to go for what the neutrals want to see, is going to be all the big teams, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose.
Like if you take Chelsea out of that and put in a Bournemouth, no one really bats an eyelid, do they? That Bournemouth and Brighton's not the one on TV.
Yeah, I suppose the solution is
Brighton-Chelsea.
Yeah, it's a good game. Just put them all on TV. Then it's done.
Get an app.
Get an
Get
app.
us an app.
Yeah.
we'll
If
pay
they
some money.
did get a Premier League app, what is the
Mate, they'd make
maximum you would pay per month for a Premier League app where you could watch every Premier League game?
Well, I've missed most of them, wouldn't I? Because I watched Sunderland at 3:00.
All right, let's say Sunderland were in the Premier League. Let's say they were a Premier League team. So it included your own team's games.
Right. A month.
How much the maximum you'd pay a month?
Well, I was paying £120 for Virgin, and that was purely to just watch football.
Yeah.
So I'd pay that probably.
Yeah. There you go, £120 a month, which is insane. Like no one's going to pay that realistically. Like they're not going to charge that. But that's just how much money they could make if they did a Premier League app. Because people, if people weigh it up, a lot of people have Sky and BT or TNT, sorry, just for the football. So if they said, right, you can watch every game, which you can't do even if you've got TNT and Sky, you can watch every game. We're going to charge you £80 a month. They'll probably get a lot of takers.
I can't see him doing it though because it's just so much money in it, isn't it? BT paying him a shed load, Sky paying him a shed load, Amazon are now paying him a shed load.
Yeah,
because all the midweek games are on Amazon, aren't they?
Yeah, Amazon are taking loads of the games. Yeah, they've got the midweek ones this week. That are probably kicking off
But they've obviously,
just as this goes live. As the podcast goes live.
Yeah, they must have worked it out that. Look, if we do an app and we charge this much, we're still not going to get the same amount of money that Sky, BT and Amazon are paying us. Surely, because people would be all over a Premier League app.
I think if they could offer every game, including the 3:00 blackout ones, it might be more worth it. Like if they could, they've got their Sky schedule, their TNT schedule. If with the Premier League app, because they own all the rights to it, they could show more games and charge more. I don't know. They might do it because. The problem is what's on Sky and TNT and Amazon, you don't get all the games. It's one of those. But we've been in this situation. I mean, they did it during lockdown, didn't they? They charged per game during lockdown.
Yeah.
I remember paying £20 to watch Arsenal Crystal Palace or something like that. Like lockdown.
Yeah, that's mad though. It's the same price as a ticket for Championship clubs.
Yeah,
that's
it
crazy.
is a mad price.
£20 a game.
People will pay to watch their team if there's no other options. But when there's no options at all...
Yeah, the EFL do it. They got the EFL iFollow, and as a Sunderland fan, you can just pay your tenner per game and watch it.
And you'd think that's madness because the Championship clubs and below are the ones that need those ticket sales more than what the Premier League clubs probably do. So you'd think that they would be the ones trying to protect their ticket sales.
Yeah, you'd think so, but
no.
Who knows? They must get a percentage of that, though.
Yeah, they must do. They must make something off it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's land on City versus Spurs then. Really good game, 3-3. I mean, City just leaking goals really because they conceded 4 against Chelsea, and then 3 again against City. What do you make of it? Crazy game.
I'll just start off by saying I actually love watching Spurs at the moment. You're going to hate that. But they are just pure entertainment. It might be a bit naive, and they're going to lose a couple of games 4 or 5-0 or something. But it's just pure entertainment. Like the games they've been involved in this year have just been gold. Every single one of them.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't argue with that.
They're not even Pep came out, didn't he, and said, I'm about the Ange's left and right back. He was like, no, that's not the same as mine. I have mine pop into midfield. He's playing 2 wingers.
Yeah.
They are that high and that forward. His right back is his right midfielder, and then his right midfielder is his right striker, right forward.
Playing that 4-2-4 formation from Football Manager.
They're going to score a lot. They're going to concede a lot, but I'll watch it all day long if there's going to be goals.
Do you think, hypothetically, if they get into Europe next season, which they probably will in some respect, get into either Europa League or Champions League or whatever, do you think that the way that they play they're gonna batter teams in Europe, or do you think that teams are gonna find them out? Like not even the big teams, like just your sort of mediocre teams, like your Lons that Arsenal played the other day, like your PSVs, those sorts of teams.
I think it'll be a bit of both. I think the first, like at home or something, they'll go and absolutely rip them apart. Away, they'll probably get beat 2-1 because they've like been caught on the counter a couple of times.
Yeah.
But I get what people are saying. Like at some point, you've got to stop that and just get results. But why? It's literally why we watch football.
Yeah, it's
for
great
goals
for the
and
neutral.
just entertainment. And if you ask Tottenham fans right now, they are loving it.
Yeah, I mean they're still rebuilding, aren't they? Technically, and they haven't. I don't think they've spent the Harry Kane money. So I mean, I know they brought Brennan Johnson in, but really they're still sort of rebuilding, and they're already playing this type of football and getting decent results. I mean, I know they've only got 1 point from the last 3-4 games, but they're still playing good football. They're just not getting the results at the moment.
Yeah, it's just pure entertainment. It's great to watch as a neutral. There might be a point where in 6 or 7 months' time, the Tottenham fans are just going, "Come on, man, just shut up. We're 3-0 up and we've just lost 4-3."
Yeah, and I've been there as an Arsenal fan. We were like that for years, and I will still remember that game against Monaco where we were like winning in the Champions League, and we're playing Per Mertesacker at the halfway line, and who's then running back to, I don't know who they had up front at the time, but safe to say he was quicker than Per Mertesacker, and we got knocked out, and we just never learned. And I mean, I hope Tottenham go that way, but Tottenham fans probably hope they don't.
But then he has, like you said, he's brought in a couple of players that fit that system. Van der Ven is rapid.
Yeah, he's quick.
He can get back. Romero's not slow, but I'm sure he'll be replaced in time. Then you've got Porro, rapid.
Emerson Royale
looks real player. I really like him. Yeah, Emerson Royale. And there'll be others that come into it as well. Basuma and Sarr are just engine machines, aren't they? They will just run all day long.
Yeah, I do like them.
And same as Son, it's such a high pressure, high intensity. I think it's great to watch. But City, quickly going back to them, I said this earlier as well to someone, they probably are going to win the league. A month will go by, there'll be a few points behind, and then they'll just smash everyone to pieces and win it again.
Yeah.
I kind of hope not, because I
Boring.
really it is boring. But they're leaking goals at the moment.
Yeah, they're conceding a lot. I don't really know what it is, because they're conceding like that Kulusevski goal was like a cross into the box and a header. Like I don't often see City concede those types of goals. And even
the Lasoso one, I thought it was poor defending.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah,
didn't get out to him quick enough.
Don't know what it is really. They've got enough defenders. City, like they've got that. They've obviously got John Stones back now. Diaz, everyone's gone on about how good Diaz is, and he is a great defender. So yeah, I don't really know what's going on at City really at the back. They're probably missing Nathan Ake.
Stones didn't play yesterday though, did he?
I don't think so. I think he was still on the bench. He's still coming back.
Yeah, so they've got him to come back properly. Ake's a good player, like you said. I really rate him.
They had a Kanji in midfield, like actually lined up in midfield with Rodri.
Yeah. Maybe Pep's lost it. Maybe he's lost his mind. But the Villa game would be interesting because they haven't got Rodri, have they now?
Rodri's suspended. But we said this before. I swear, I don't know if it was last season where we thought Pep had lost the plot because he was playing like I don't know what he was doing. And then he put the centre backs at fullback, didn't he? He put Ake, he moved Ake out there, and he moved. I don't know who on the right. He put centre backs across the whole back line, and then they won 15 on the row and won the league. So he's just trying things out, maybe.
Pep's an absolute football genius. No matter what people say, he only does it with money. He's absolute football genius. He'll work this out. He'll tweak something. They'll go on a mental run and they'll win the league. Maybe even win the treble again.
Yeah, if they win the treble again, then they're, greatest team of all time if they win the treble again. Debatable.
Yeah.
Wanted to touch on the incident at the end of the game. Lots of falling out from it. Man City have actually been charged in the last few hours for failure to control their players by the FA. I mean, it was a terrible decision. I actually feel sorry for Man City. In a way, I feel sorry for Man City, but on the other hand, it's like all the other teams get these decisions go against them, and City seem to just not really have them. But this was a bad one. What did you make of it?
I haven't seen a decision like that for a long time. Like, I don't even know what... Because he did stop it for a little bit, didn't he?
Yeah, he played on.
Then the ball went over, and then he was like, oh, no, actually.
He must have thought he was offside
It's
or something.
absolutely awful.
It was terrible.
He must have done. And he probably, when he's processing what's going on, he's probably thinking, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
That's going to be in the papers tomorrow. I've made a fucking howler there.
But he was the one that screwed up the Tottenham-Liverpool game as well.
Yeah, it's very, very bad refereeing. The rules are, though, you can't surround the ref. You can't have a go at him anymore. So they should be punished for that. But I don't think they should be punished because I don't think that should be a rule.
Yeah, I don't.
If you're going and grabbing him or whatever, then fair play.
Put him in a headlock.
If you're Haaland and you just go, what the fuck? Like, you're trying to explain to him, you're probably going a bit.
Yeah.
You're a bit rolled up or whatever, and you're probably not saying it in the right way. But surely, as a football player, right, you train all week for that one game.
Yeah.
And then that happens.
Yeah,
you're going to be a bit pissed off. We can't just tell them to just be right, you can have no emotion anymore. Zero emotion. If things go against you, suck it up and take it. Get off the pitch. We can't do that.
That leads me perfectly on to the first social media post I had of the evening lined up, which pretty much says that. I will put this on the screen for those of you that are watching this on YouTube. Players are not allowed to show emotion anymore. This is getting out of hand. The FA are looking to investigate Haaland after he reacted to that awful decision yesterday. He only tweeted WTF as well. Didn't go on a mad crybaby rant like Arteta did when the decision yesterday was a lot worse. So players literally aren't allowed to react or show emotion when officials make such stupid mistakes. This is such a huge problem, and why this keeps happening. Referees are protected. They have zero accountability. The sport we all love is literally dying. This season has been one of the lowest seasons we have had. The officials really are ruining it once and for all. Pretty much what you just said. But this is definitely, I would say this is the worst it's been. Like, so far, I think the one we've had.
Yeah.
It's getting worse.
But I know, obviously, that refereeing decision is nothing to do with VAR. He's just made a mistake.
Yes.
He should be accountable for that. But I think referees, he's made a mistake because he has reacted, which is going to counteract my actual point I'm going to try and make. I think the refereeing has got worse because refs are too scared at the moment to make a decision.
Yeah.
Yesterday's is obviously completely different because he has made a decision and he's fucked it up. So it is going to counteract my own argument. But they just seem, scared to do anything because they know they're going to be absolutely pelted for it, which they probably should be if you're making decisions like that.
Yeah, I think they've lost their
VAR's
confidence.
not helping either.
Well, I saw a post on TikTok. I'm sorry, I can't remember who it was that posted it, so I can't give credit. But they did a league table if VAR wasn't a factor this whole season. League table, no VAR decisions, positive or negative, and it actually had Tottenham in first place if no VAR decisions had happened. But I do think that thinking about it, you can't really think like that because the referees, they are actually relying on VAR now. They know it's there. So, like you said, they won't make a decision because they know that VAR will get it. Like they'll get it right. It's like if I don't put my flag up or I don't blow for that foul or that penalty, it's all right because VAR will look at it anyway. And if they didn't have VAR, then they would give more of those decisions because they know that final decision is with them. And if it's not given, it's a mistake. So I just think the referees are just using it as a crutch at the moment.
Yeah, and I would do exactly the same. Why put yourself out there, make a decision that may be wrong or right, when we'll just leave that to VAR, they'll sort it out. You'll do it at work, wouldn't you? Anyone in their job, if someone else is going to do it for you, you're not going to do it, are you?
Yeah. If you've got a system that's going to check your work and tell you if it's right or wrong, you're just going to be like, oh yeah, I'll just submit it. It'll tell me what to do. Yeah, exactly.
That'll do. I'll check that.
Yeah, it's just human nature. But that's the problem with it. I think that VAR is just being relied on too much. But yeah, the Man City Chelsea one. Oh, sorry, Man City Spurs one. That was just human error, and it's probably the first one that's like the non-VAR one that we've seen this season I can remember that had nothing to do with VAR.
Which you can take every now and again.
Yeah,
like you can take a human making fucking up once in a while. Like you said, it's a human error. It's going to happen. But yeah, I'm with you. I just think they rely on it way too much, and they'll pass the buck.
Yeah, definitely. And on that subject, I've got another post here that I'll put up on the screen. around referees. Do you think they should implement pre or post match interviews and press conferences for referees? We see this happening for players and managers before games, right after games, moments after they enter the tunnel, and after games in a formal setting. Should we do this for referees as well? So should that referee, as he was walking through the tunnel, should he be pulled aside into an interview room and been asked about it?
It's a tough one, isn't it? It is a tough one to answer because you are then opening referees up to just copious amounts of abuse.
Yeah, you are.
But what do they do? I know obviously VAR come out and say, yeah, I've messed up there. If the referee yesterday comes out and says straight after the game, yeah, I've made a massive mistake there. How much does this snowball? It goes absolutely mental, doesn't it? It would go crazy. So, in a way, I feel they should have to justify a decision, especially one like that. Like, why have you held the play up? Why have you played on for a little bit until you've seen them through on goal and then pull it back? He's got to come out at some point, maybe not straight after the game, but maybe the next morning or something. Or, I don't know. There should be a way to do it.
My problem with it is that after these decisions happen and everything, they pull these managers out for interviews straight after the game, right after they're hot about it, and literally prod them and probe them until they react and end up with a fine. So if they can do that to managers, why shouldn't a referee be asked when it's like still hot, when it's just happened? You know, it's just it's too much protection.
I definitely get what you're saying. It's a fucking hard job anyway, isn't it? Being a ref, like I said, you get so much abuse, even if you do it right.
Yeah.
No, and they don't get paid a lot. Well, compared to me and you, they do. But they don't get paid as much as Pep Guardiola, who's got to come out and speak about that.
No, but I think
think they should be held accountable.
It's more to the fans, if anything. Like at the time, like he's obviously talking to Haaland and all the City players. He's probably saying, "I've made a mistake." He's probably telling them what's happened. But the fans that have paid 60, 70 quid to go to that game, to get for their match ticket, to travel, to sit in there, they ain't got a clue what's going on. Like, they don't know why the referee's done that. And I just think that maybe they owe it to the fans that are paying the money to actually explain to them what they're doing, like why they're making these mistakes.
Yeah, that's another good point. But also, it's so hard to get referees nowadays because no one wants to do it.
Yeah.
If you're then going to stick them on TV straight after the game and ask them to justify their decisions and open them up to say the wrong thing or admit something I don't know, like in the heat of a moment, who's going to want to do it then?
Yeah, we'll have the kit man as a referee. There'll be no one left.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one.
I do think they should be held accountable and justify. Like yesterday, he's got to justify that somehow. He's got to come out and say why he done that. But I don't know how you would do it, if that makes sense.
I mean, at the moment, they seem to be relying on Howard Webb and PGMOL to come out and say, you know, and do a statement like on their behalf. And I don't know, I think for the first 1 or 2 or 3, it was like, okay, but it's happened so often now that it doesn't mean anything anymore to anyone. It's like, another apology. We've had these. I don't really know what the answer is.
I agree with the previous guy though. We are at our lowest standard of refereeing I have seen. Like even in the Championship, it's awful. It's just terrible. Awful at the moment.
Be interesting to hear what you guys on social media think. Should referees be doing interviews after games, even before games? Going into it, I don't know. Like, what is the solution to this? It'd be great to hear from you. Sort of staying on referees, maybe going off a little bit. I saw a post the other day about orange cards set to be introduced, and somebody mentioned it on commentary. I think it may have been the City Spurs game. Cannot remember. I mean, this is just early talks. This isn't like set in stone. It's going to happen or anything like that. And they're talking about bringing them in like a sin bin type thing, like they've got in rugby, for cynical fouls, for pullbacks and stuff like that. So, where they're through and they take them out to stop the chance from being created or whatever. I don't like it. I don't like the idea at all. I just think that it's always been called a tactical foul. It's part of the game. Sometimes you have to take one for the team. It's just been around for as long as I can remember. Just one of them things that I don't think it needs fiddling with. What are your views on that?
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think there should be orange cards. I mean, they're fucking our game up enough at the moment with all these fucking technology and the rules, and fucking no one knows what's going on. We start introducing sin bins and stuff like that. The problem is with a pullback. So the first time you'll do it, you'll go through, you'll pull him back, you'll get a yellow card.
Yeah.
He'll do it again. And then the rules change then. It's not a yellow card if he's already on a booking. Someone just needs to go, no, that's twice. You've done that. You're off.
Yeah.
People will stop doing it.
Yeah. And the example I think they used when they were talking about it was Cellini on Saka in the Euro 2020 final. That one where he got pulled back sort of on the, not in a really dangerous position, but on the wing. I mean, if he'd have been shown an orange card and sent off for 10 minutes or whatever, that doesn't really change the game. Like, he'd still take that. That wouldn't deter it. He would have still done that.
If anything, they'll do it more.
Yeah, because they can't get sent off permanently.
Send them off for it.
They'll probably have a formation, like trained on the training ground. Right, this is the formation for when Cellini gets sin-binned. We're going to do this, and they'll plan for it because it'll be a tactical decision.
Yeah, and that will start being that will start coming into thing. It will be a tactic.
Yeah,
they're through on goal, pull him back. You'll get 10 minutes off. You'll come back on.
Yeah,
we'll be fine. I don't think, like I said, they're fucking the game up enough. Just leave it alone at the moment.
Yeah,
stop bringing all this weird stuff in. I think they just need, like I said, it changes. I never earlier on in the season. I can't remember who it was. It's I think maybe Ashley Young. He's given away a penalty. It's the most blatant booking I've ever seen in my life. But because it's already a penalty, he's not booked for it. Like, they need to stop this. You need to stop. If someone's already booked and then they pull someone back and you go, oh, I'm going to have to send him off. And then they don't. But if he's not on a booking, that's a straight booking. He gets yellow carded straight away.
Yeah. I must admit, with penalties, I actually don't know what the rule is with yellow cards anymore, because I saw that Chelsea-Brighton one, where VAR overturned that and gave Chelsea a penalty. Weren't a penalty in a million years. Like, I looked at it, I watched the VAR replays. For me, not even a penalty. But not only did they give a penalty, they then booked him for it. And I was just like, how? Yeah. How is that a yellow card? Like, it wasn't even a foul.
But then you'll get some refs. That go, oh no, I've given the penalty. That's enough of a thing. I don't need to book him.
It's so inconsistent.
I don't think the refs. I do feel sorry for them. I don't think they know the rules are anymore. Imagine you're in your job, and every single at the moment it's every week.
Yeah.
New rules come out. You're like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, is that a penalty now? I don't know.
And then you've got your linesman, your fourth official in your ear. You've got VAR in your ear, all with different voices, all saying different things, and you're just like, I don't know. You know, I do feel sorry for them. I do, but I also feel sorry for
millions of people watching you.
Yeah, it just needs sorting out. Like, I'm sure. I mean, I know refereeing's probably bad everywhere. I have seen some horrible decisions across Europe, but it can't be this bad this often in other leagues. It's got to just be us.
Yeah. I don't know what the problem is, but it needs sorting. It needs to be worked out. Why don't we have the VAR like the Champions League as well? I'm sure that they work that different, and the offsides and all that. The lines are different.
We voted
and they've
against
got different technology.
Yeah, we voted against the semi-automatic offsides or whatever it was. The league voted against it. I don't know why. I'm
all up for getting Arsene Wenger's rule in.
Oh yeah.
Give the advantage back to the striker. Give to the attackers. That's the way it's always been.
There'll be more goals.
Yep.
You know, and it's just I know this isn't going to change because this is where we are now. But I hate it when a goal goes in and then you can't even celebrate because you have to wait. And even like ones like Caicedo's goal the other week against Tottenham, that was a cracking shot from outside the box. And you think, surely nothing's wrong with that. Like, that's a great goal. And then it's somehow disallowed for offside, and then there's a penalty. Like, I just want to celebrate that strike because it was a great hit.
There was one I was watching the other day. It was the clearest onside you've ever seen in your life. So clear. Like, I could see it right from my TV. It was so, like, it could have been more onside. And they still it went to VAR, and I'm like, what the fuck for? And he was like, oh yeah, they're just checking for offside. Why are you checking for offside?
Yeah,
like, They can't even celebrate goals that are clearly onside anymore. They've
They
still
have
got to wait.
and then have to go celebrate again, and it's all of it's sort of
Yeah.
happened now.
In case someone stood on someone's toe 10 minutes ago.
Did you?
Like,
did
it's
you?
just got it's got too much.
Did you see the penalty that was checked yesterday when it like clearly hit him in the head? Like literally was nowhere near his hand.
Oh, yeah.
He's even square in the face, and they're checking it, and they watched it like 4 times as well. I'm like, it's like they hit him in the face. What is this?
It's just some of them are mad, some of them are just crazy, and it's like a couple of minutes just to see some guy that's clearly offside, like his whole body's offside, and like, oh, I don't know, we'll have to get the lines out for that one. Like, it's offside, it's clearly offside, just don't give the goal.
Yeah,
It's just
crazy.
But please, no sin bins.
No sin bins.
Please.
I agree. I don't want to turn into rugby. It's 2-stop start. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Right. Finally, last thing of the week. We've got a little game, which Billy's gonna talk us through.
Yeah, you'll have to put the
I'll put it on the
up
screen.
on this one because there's 10 players.
Yeah.
And I had the joys of seeing the picture so I could remember who was in there. But so there is 10 players. You've got to keep 5 and remove 5. So all history of that player is done. You've got Luis Suarez, Lewandowski, Harry Kane, Fernando Torres, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Eto'o, Rooney, Drogba, Benzema, and Aguero.
This was difficult. I found this really tough.
It was.
How should we go through this? Should we go for our first one that we would take out? Maybe that would be the best way of doing it. First way to drop.
Yep.
First one to drop.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll go first. And the first player that I would drop out of these 10 is Lewandowski. And Lewandowski is a great striker. He's only done it in one country. And to be fair, Harry Kane's gone there and he's making a mockery of what Lewandowski's sort of done. I mean, I know he's now in Spain and he's doing okay, but it's just, I don't think he really holds a candle to the rest of them. Like, he's not done it internationally. I know he's Polish, so it's pretty hard. But yeah, for me, he was the first one that I pulled out of that list.
Yeah, I actually went exactly the same. Mainly for that reason, because he's not. There's no like moment in football history that he's created, if that makes sense.
Yeah, there's nothing that you're like,
so
if we take him out, this wouldn't happen.
Yeah, he's not actually set the world on like footballing world on fire, is he? He's just scored a load of goals in the German league.
Yeah, playing for Bayern Munich, who are miles better than everyone else in that league. Yeah.
So he was my first one out as well.
Okay. Do you go for your second?
Yes, I went for Samuel Eto'o. That's my second.
Okay.
Just another one as well. Like, obviously he's been around a bit, isn't he? He's gone to big clubs, scored loads of goals, but there's never really been any moment where I've been like, damn, I'm never going to see that again. You know what I mean?
No,
so that's why he's gone out for me.
I'd quite like to erase him from 2006, where he was scoring against us in the Champions League final. But the second player that I've gone for is Fernando Torres. He was such a good player in his day, but for me, the thing that does it for him is that it was a very short amount of time. Like, he didn't do it at Chelsea. He didn't do it when he went back to Atletico. He didn't have that longevity that some of these other players did. But in his prime, he was absolutely unreal. But that's what did it for me.
Yeah, that's fair enough. He was my third player to remove.
We're doing good so far, then.
More for that reason, and because I think all the trophies he's won would have been won without him. I know you could probably mention like the Torres goal against Barca in the semis, but like the Euros, the World Cup, they would have all been won without him, I think.
Yeah, they had an insane team.
And he was absolutely insane at Liverpool, unplayable most of the time. Outrageous player, but he didn't make my 5.
Well, my next one is Eto'o. So we've got the same 3 so far. Look, similar sort of reasons. He was great for Barcelona, but he just. I was a bit conscious that I was like being a bit biased towards players that had spent a long time in the Premier League. Like I was sort of wary of that as I was picking these out.
Yeah,
and you're
same.
obviously going to be more biased towards players that you've seen play more often, right? But you just think about like moments and sort of the world stage. And I mean, I know it's not Eto's fault that he played for, was it Cameroon? And they didn't really make a mark on, World Cups and Euros and stuff like that. But yeah, I just think that, you have to cut 5 players, and he doesn't offer as much as some of these other names.
Yeah. So this is when it started getting real tough.
Yeah. We got rid of the 3 obvious ones.
And yeah. And my 4th is Benzema. I've got rid of him.
Okay.
Took him out.
What's your reasons?
It's just because of the other ones I couldn't take out. Like, I know he's scored obviously a shitload of goals and whatever, but he was never been the main man, is he, at a club? Obviously, he had Ronaldo. He was second to. France, he didn't really play, did he? And then all the stuff came out with the Valbuena sex tape or whatever it was, revenge thing.
Madness.
He doesn't play for them, and now he's in Saudi. Yeah, I couldn't really keep him. He's never been the main man at a club, so I've removed him.
If he didn't
apart from the one, obviously, when Ronaldo left.
Yeah, like if he didn't have that one season where he scored against City to knock him out late, he scored against Chelsea to knock him out late, like that one season in the Champions League, and he obviously won the Ballon d'Or, didn't he, that year? He did win it, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
If that season hadn't,
did he?
I think he won it. I'm going to check. I'm going to check. I'll cut around it.
Because I thought Modric was the only one that had broken it up. No, he probably actually. I think he did.
He did win it, yeah. Yeah. I can't see what year, but he came first. Mane came second, and De Bruyne third, yeah. Yeah, so he won the Ballon d'Or. But yeah, if that season hadn't happened, and I know it's easy to say, oh yeah, if we start taking seasons away from players, but what I was saying about consistency, and it's the same reason I took Torres out, he only really had that one season, didn't play for France because of everything that happened. I also took him out, so he's also my 4th for those reasons. So we've got exactly the same 4 so far. It all relies on the 5th player.
Yeah.
To see if we've got the
same one. Go your 5th first.
Well, I think they'll be different. I think. So I've taken out Drogba. It was between Drogba and Ibrahimovic. And I think where I took out people like Torres for going to other clubs and not doing it, I think the opposite could be said about Ibrahimovic. He's literally been everywhere. And other than what maybe Man United, when he's sort of getting to the late end of his career, up until he sort of left PSG, he's sort of done it in Milan, he's done it in Juventus, he did it at Barcelona. Like, he was just... Everyone loved playing with him. He was just one of those players. I just think he never got the credit. I mean, we spoke about his overhead kick against England the other week. Absolutely, no one else tries that. He was just one of those players that was just unlike every other player on this list for me. So I kept Ibra, and I took Drogba out. I mean, Drogba was a menace for Chelsea. I hated us playing against him, and he scored that big goal in the Champions League final. Obviously, that's sort of the biggest moment of his career. But if I think about internationally, like I've done with the other players, he didn't really do much for the Ivory Coast. He obviously was a big part of the Chelsea sort of teams, but I think that there's other players with bigger contributions, I suppose.
So we have gone different on this one.
Oh, good.
I've taken Harry Kane out.
Oh.
As my 5th.
I suppose if you look at trophies and stuff.
Yeah, there is no trophies, is there? Obviously, he scored a shitload of Premier League goals, but he's not Premier League top goal scorer yet.
No, it's true.
He's scoring goals for Bayern Munich, but Lewandowski done that. So I can't big that up too much, as he was my first one out. Yeah, and again, he's just been consistently great. There's been no unbelievable moments. There's no like title winning moments or cup winning moments. He scored a load of England goals against San Marino.
True.
So yeah, it was Harry Kane. Didn't
Wow.
make it.
So we were agreed on Wayne Rooney, Aguero, and then we've got Suarez, Ibrahimovic, and then we differ on Kane and Drogba.
Yeah, I think Aguero and Rooney were my first two in.
Yeah, Aguero. I mean, obviously, no one's going to top that moment. They won the Premier League, and his goals per game, goals per minute, sort of stats for unbelievable. So Aguero had to go in. Rooney, I did put him in quite quickly, but I did think about it. I actually put Suarez in before I put Rooney in, and I just think Suarez, the time he spent in, I mean, Barcelona as well, but at Liverpool, I mean, he was actually ridiculous. Like he was actually ridiculous. So I had to put Suarez in. I think Kane, I did just think about, goals, scored so many goals every season in a terrible Spurs team. Came through quite late as well, didn't he? He wasn't like a youngster that sort of come through. He wasn't at the top level since he was sort of 18 or whatever. But no, you're right in what you're saying about he's not won trophies. He's not won anything with England. He's England captain. He's never won a trophy with England. He's never won anything with Tottenham. I think it probably is just because I've seen more of Kane. So it's fair shout. But that's the lists.
Yeah. So who is your five that you kept?
So I've kept Luis Suarez, Wayne Rooney, Harry Kane, Sergio Aguero, Zlatan Ibrahimovic. And that's it. That's five.
Yeah. And I kept Aguero, Rooney, Suarez, Zlatan, and Drogba. Drogba was just for their moments,
Yeah, he did have some good moments.
Champions League and stuff, and he was an absolute beast on his day.
I hate playing against him.
Yeah, so good. Like you said, Suarez was just unbelievable.
He was ridiculous. Like he was. When I look at the strikers, he's the one on this whole list that if you put all of these strikers on the best day of their career, Suarez is the one that I wouldn't want to play against. So
Rooney was special as well.
Rooney was. They all were. They were all special players.
Yeah.
But Suarez was just scary. Like when he was at Liverpool. I don't know that will please Liverpool fans because I know that we've been on their back the last few weeks. So, but no, Suarez was an amazing player.
Yeah, I couldn't take away the Aguero moment.
No.
And Zlatan was more for his just being Zlatan than it was for. I can't imagine him not being around. Yeah, it'd just be weird because there's nobody like Zlatan.
No.
So he definitely had to make it.
Lovely. Yeah, we'll put it on social media, see what you think of the list, see if there's any that you disagree with, any you would take out, any you'd put in, let us know the reasons why. It'll be on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
Cool.
Well, that's it. That's all we've got time for this week. We've got midweek games coming up. They're probably already kicked off when this goes out. So we'll be back next week to talk about those and all the games that are happening at the weekend. So busy, starting to get busy, coming towards Christmas. And we'll be back next week.
Football feast, extra podcast, playing soccer, grabbing peace, playing soccer, time to meet, playing soccer, time to quit, they finna talk a lot, okay, playing